Code Assembly. Today's assembly is a follow-up to our events on Wednesday when we all watched a video in the same location and then had discussions about that afterwards. Today is about formally affirming our commitment to the Honor Code, which was proposed by Student Council in 2000 and refined over the course of 2 years and then ratified by a student vote in April of 2002. I'd like to now introduce Mr. Hill, the head of school, who has some opening remarks.
Very much. I'd like to just share with you a little nugget of history. The first honor code in the United States was at the University of Virginia, Mr. Jefferson's University, and it actually came out of circumstances that are much less propitious than those that created the honor code here. Apparently the relationship between the faculty and the students had gotten so bad that by 1840, a student shot one of the members of the faculty, and the gentleman, before he expired, refused to give away the name of his assailant because he thought that any honorable gentleman would come forward and give himself up. But then the professor died. And I don't know whether the assailant stepped forward or not. But anyway, the university was forced to provide a substitute, hire another professor to take his place. And 2 years later, that gentleman made the proposal that there be an honor code, an agreement between the faculty and the students at the University of Virginia as to how they would conduct themselves and what the nature of their relationship would be. And it would be one of trust. And then the next one in the United States, I think, was at Princeton in 1893, and now there are a lot of honor codes in colleges in the United States. Most of them, however, are strictly about academics. They don't really expand into, how you act in the dorm and your outside life and so forth. So at Chadwick, ours is also, if you take a narrow construction of it, is about your academic performance, and how you act in academics. But what I really want to do is invite you or ask you to think beyond that, because really for us it's not about meeting a certain set of criteria on quizzes and so forth, although that's important. It's really about expectations. The last sentence of our mission statement says, in an atmosphere of integrity and trust, students come to expect the best of themselves and of others. And really the honor code is one of the many ways in which we take that last sentence and we give it life, we operationalize it, we build it into the structure and the life of the school. And that's by saying, this is what I'm going to expect of myself, and this is what I'm going to expect of other people. And I'd like to go back to something that Sophia said on Tuesday when she was going through the list of things and said, be honest with yourself. And going back to Shakespeare, Polonius' speech to Laertes, in Hamlet, where he says the famous phrase that has been, obviously the interpretations have been manifold, that to thine own self be true. Well, the way I'm asking, because you've all heard this, right? To thine own self be true, and thou canst be false to no man, right? Okay, so I invite you, since it's a memorable phrase, leaving aside the whole literary analysis, I invite you to think about it in this context of be true to yourself. In other words, be honest with yourself. Years ago, I was a dean of students at another school, and it seemed to me that so the kids are coming in that are getting into trouble, and 99% of the time, the problem was they had not finished the thought process with themselves when they were doing the thing that got them into trouble. They just weren't honest with themselves about what it was they were doing and what the consequences were likely to be for themselves and for others. And had they finished the loop, which they were forced to do once they got into trouble, they would have probably never done it in the first place. So my exhortation, I guess, to you all is let's raise our expectations. This is not about meeting the letter of the law. This is about expecting the best of ourselves and of others. The honor code is one of the very important and effective ways that we have of doing this, and creates the kind of Chadwick community of which we are all so very proud. Thank you.
And now I want to call up Liz Hale, our Student Honor Council co-chair this year. So I have a speech prepared, but before I do that, I actually want to call up the Honor Council so you get a chance to meet them. And so these are the people that you can go to if you ever have any questions about the Honor Code. So if you're on the Honor Council, you can
come up, and we're actually going to go through and just introduce ourselves. So yeah, I'm Liz Hale, and I'm the Student Honor Council co-chair.
I'm Lydia Kraus, and I'm the senior representative.
I'm Jake Goldstein, I'm senior class vice president.
Francesca Miramonte, ASB vice president.
David Feigl, junior class vice president.
Alex Moya, freshman class vice president.
Sarah Beshke, sophomore class vice president.
Bobby Abrahamson, senior honor council representative.
We're going to actually introduce them back to you as well.
Sandy McNee, 10th grade head advisor.
Ms. White, Dean of Students.
Dr. Piercy, 9th grade head advisor.
Ms. Rao, 12th grade head advisor.
Mrs. Fay, also 12th grade head advisor.
Ms. Krasny, 11th grade head advisor.
So basically, like I said, those are people that you can talk to if you have any questions about the honor code. They're really good resources. So thank you guys. So, as a senior in the middle of the college process, I've sat through my fair share of information sessions. And I will admit that over time, they often become redundant, and I find my mind wandering off to other thoughts. So the college counselors have developed a trick to ascertain what's actually important in these information sessions. They suggest that students listen for keywords, words that the admission officer emphasizes over and over again. The keywords seem to kind of indicate what's valued at each college. For example, at the University of Chicago information session, the keywords were divergent thinking. At University of Virginia, the keywords were Jefferson ideals. As every senior in the audience can attest, holistic seems to be a keyword at any college information session. I've come to realize that Chadwick's keyword is community. Honestly, how many times a day do we talk about the Chadwick community? A lot, but that's not a bad thing. We talk about it so much because we really value both the opportunities and support that comes from being part of a community such as this one. At the foundation of our community lies accountability. We expect our peers to follow through with their responsibilities for a group project. We expect our teammates to follow through with their responsibilities in a larger competition. We expect our castmates to fulfill their roles in a larger production. At the heart, the Honor Code teaches us two things about accountability. One, that we are to be held accountable for our actions. And two, that we as students must hold each other accountable for our actions. See, we regularly talk about the first part of the Honor Code, the personal accountability. But we don't seem to speak as often about the second part of the code, student-to-student accountability. The Honor Code is truly only as strong as the students and the faculty who actively support it. And the code can only be effective if we have both personal accountability and student-to-student accountability. When the Honor Code was adopted by the upper school in 2002, it truly originated from the students for the students. The Honor Code actually began as a student initiative. In fact, its establishment in the upper school was voted on by the entire student body. Since its inception, the Honor Code has truly been driven by the student voice. As such, when we look at the Honor Council today, the ratio of students and faculty sitting on the council is purposely skewed toward the student voice. 8 students and 5 faculty members sit on the council. We are truly the beneficiaries of the code, the trust, the freedoms, the lessons it teaches us, which has been passed on to us by previous students. We have the responsibility to make sure future classes can benefit from it as well. That's where meaningful action comes in. We have the responsibility to not only be accountable for our own actions, but to also speak up when another student is not doing the same. And we can take meaningful action by talking with a faculty or Honor Council member. But I urge you this year to take the path often less traveled, but one that I admit often takes more courage. When you see a student who's violated in the Honor Code or is in a vulnerable position to do so, I ask that you speak to the student directly about your concerns. Just one student who decides to honestly and courageously speak with his or her classmates can create legitimate and lasting change in the Chadwick community. This is why. If there's one thing we have learned from our humanities classes here at Chadwick, it's that social norms are a powerful force. When we expect one another to act with integrity, we create a culture in which students begin to instinctively do the right thing. A culture in which most of us don't think to cheat, nor lie, nor steal. A culture that I believe already very much exists here at Chadwick. To maintain this culture, however, it requires us to honestly and courageously speak to one another about issues of integrity. It requires meaningful action. The combination of the two aspects of the honor code that I mentioned earlier, personal accountability and student-to-student accountability, creates the culture at Chadwick. The products of being part of this culture are the lifelong habits that we will carry with us long after leaving Chadwick. The character we will have developed and the people we will have become while here at Chadwick will help guide difficult decisions in our futures. And that's ultimately why the honor code matters, because it instills in us the lessons to go out into the world and become people of integrity, individuals of character, to be leaders in this and make Chadwick, our family, friends, classmates, and ultimately ourselves proud of the people we've become. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liz, for those incredibly thoughtful remarks. Right now is our time where I'd like to call up some members of our student body, our faculty and our administration, who will symbolically represent larger groups of individuals with their signatures on these honor code posters beside me. So for the Honor Council co-chair, Liz Hale. Representing the entire student body, ASB President Sophia Ferentinos. For the senior class, President Meg Knox. And please sign both posters. Representing the junior class, President Brendan Burrows. I'll give them a second. For the sophomore class, President Allison Wesley. And representing the freshman class, President Thomas Oldreeve. On behalf of the entire school, head of school, Ted Hill. Representing the upper school administration, upper school director, Mark Wiedemann. Representing the faculty, Dean of Faculty, Pete Nordland. And when everyone's done, I will sign as faculty co-chair of the Honor Council. Wait patiently. Thank you. All right, so a good round of applause to everyone who just signed on behalf of all of you. So while these signatures that just happened just now are symbolic representations of all of your affirmation of our honor code, we also, as we've done for the past few years, are going to have these posters in the rotunda for the next 1 to 2 weeks, where you can actually come and sign beside your name, because all of your names are a part of this poster as well. So on one of the posters are the 9th and 10th grade class, and on one of the posters is the 11th and 12th grade class. Again, they will sit in one of the insets in the rotunda for the next about a week and a half. I'll have pens out there, and I would like all of you to come by at some time when you're free to find your name and to sign next to it as your affirmation of your pledge to the honor code as well. After that's done, we're going to frame them, and they'll actually sit inside that inset in the rotunda where it says honor code right now. So they'll be there for the whole year for us to walk by and see as we go through Rossler every day. With that, that is the culmination of the honor code portion of our assembly. So if we can give a big round of applause to Mr. Hill and Liz Hale again.